Yesterday, we had the Missouri Attorney General, Catherine Hanaway. She just took over from Andrew Bailey in studio. She was on her way to the Board of Police Commissioners meeting in Kansas City and also said that she was going to visit with the Jackson County Prosecutor, who's been on the job for about 9 months, Melesa Johnson, who now joins us on KCMO Talk Radio. Melesa, we appreciate your time as always. And let's just start here. I know the AG told us that she was willing to offer any state help that she could give to Kansas City and Jackson County when it comes to investigations that are underway, whether it's homicides or anything else, to try to expedite the process of getting some of these bad guys off the streets. How did you see that conversation going, and is that something that you would welcome from the Attorney General?
Always good to be on with you this morning, Pete. And I just want to start by saying that my conversation with AG Hanaway was beyond encouraging. I sincerely appreciate her offer of help. And absolutely, I am open to any additional resources that make sense, that align with our deficiencies in our office, and that can help us better serve the residents of Jackson County. Her office already substantially helps us with various appeals to uphold our convictions, and I am happy that she is going to continue to offer that support that is prescribed by statute. But absolutely, we discussed potentially partnering on human trafficking when the World Cup comes, because I know that that is a huge primary priority for her, as well as any other support that we might need as it pertains to violent crime and drug trafficking, which was a huge priority for her when she was U.S. Attorney and is a priority of mine since I changed our drug prosecution policy and are now charging all drug distribution cases, whether there's a nexus to violence or not. So I see plenty of points of synergy, and I would gladly welcome that help when the time comes.
So that was something that your predecessor infamously basically decided not to prosecute anymore, right? That was drug trafficking charges that were not directly related to some kind of violent crime. So you're now going after those cases and going after those drug dealers, which I would assume is taking more time and resources. So how could the state help you with that, or do you feel like you have the bodies that you need to handle that here in Jackson County?
Well, right now we're doing all right. Just this week, we charged a Grandview man with 7 counts of drug manufacturing and distribution for how he is distributing fentanyl in our community. So right now, I think we are well staffed. We only have 1 attorney vacancy in our office, which a lot of other prosecutors' offices around the country cannot say the same. Even around the state can't say the same. So people want to work at the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office. And so I feel good about our staffing numbers right now. But of course, that may be subject to change, and I have to stay nimble and open to receiving any level of help to keep our residents safe.
How about the backlog on any of these investigations that are happening regarding the homicide suspects around Kansas City and the county as a whole? Is there a place for the state to help on that front, or is that not something you feel like you need help with right now?
Well, I'll defer that analysis to the policing agencies themselves, since they are the ones that actually do the investigations and compile all of the evidence. I don't want to speak for their resources and how they view the issue, but as it pertains to prosecution, our case numbers are high because we're charging a lot more cases, but I feel good about where we are as far as staffing.
Melesa Johnson is here, the Jackson County Prosecutor on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. We're streaming, as always, on the KCMO Talk Radio app. I do want to ask you, too, this story that's getting now national attention, this teenager who looks like he's beating up an old usher at the NBA Youngboy concert at T-Mobile on Sunday night.
Yeah.
What is your office doing about that?
Well, our office is not doing anything about that right now because the suspect is a juvenile. And in our system in the state of Missouri, my office would not touch that case unless that juvenile was certified as an adult, which has not occurred yet and does take some time. I don't want to speak too much on the specific facts because there may come a day where that young person is certified as a juvenile, and we would gladly and happily take that case. And so as it pertains to my jurisdiction, I don't currently have it over that particular incident right now, but if that changes, we're ready to get to work.
And that is something we're sadly seeing around the country, that younger people are getting involved with more violent crime, not just in Kansas City, but we're seeing it here, but around the country as well. There have been conversations on what age is appropriate to charge somebody as an adult. Can you speak to your viewpoint on that and what you think would be helpful to communities at large if that's something that we looked at, lowering the age of when you could charge somebody as an adult?
Well, I think it has to be a case-by-case analysis, right? There's a huge difference between a 15-year-old that commits 2 homicides and a 16-year-old that has stolen 1 car, right? We need to look at the entire totality of the circumstances and then compare that to the age and the circumstances around that young person's upbringing. Have they had adequate access to services? So I don't believe that it could be a one-size-fits-all, but there have been a number of instances that I've seen across the country where I did feel it was appropriate for a 14 or 15-year-old to be tried as an adult just because of the egregiousness of their conduct and the repetition of their conduct, the frequency of their conduct. So again, I feel like it has to be a case-by-case analysis, but I will never shy away from the fact that even if a young person makes a mistake, sometimes that mistake is you cannot come back from, and we have to teach it and treat it and approach it as such.
So this decision KCPD will investigate it, and then who makes the decision on where this case at T-Mobile goes from there? Will it just be a judge in family court?
Correct.
Okay.
The juvenile officer will decide to move for a certification hearing or not, and then that hearing will occur, and the judge will make the ultimate decision.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Melesa Johnson, the Jackson County prosecutor on KCMO, we appreciate your time as always, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Looking forward to it. Have a good one, Pete.
All right. Melesa Johnson, always appreciate her time on 95.7 FM.